daily bread and survival. That their capacity to visualize the potential of them feeding 5,000 people is diminished. So if Jesus had been drawn in by his hunger and listened to the devil telling him, if you're son of God, turn this into bread, and served his own
stomach,
he would have been disqualified.
So that's thinking by the stomach.
Exactly, and that is dreaming on budget.
That's dreaming on budget right there. But let me tell you something. Status quo and certainty is all about dreaming on budget. Have you ever realized that? You and I have gone through the traditional school, and I don't want to bash the school system.
Not today. Let's give them a break today.
But can you tell me for certainty that those guys or that system teaches dreaming on purpose?
Hardly.
It normally goes back to dreaming on budget. As in, do well so you can get employed.
You've heard of marketable courses?
Yeah. I normally say this. The first time my father took me to Kenya School of Monetary Studies to do a diploma in management information systems, I sat there. In fact, he went with his scholar. It was one of the most embarrassing things ever.
A reverend scholar?
Yeah. Yeah, as I accompanied him, with this reverend scholar. Let me tell you this. He never used to wear that thing all over the place. But that day he put it on. And I think it was to get some kind of favor from the school system because we hadn't paid enough money. So he asked them this question. He said, are there jobs with this course he is taking? And of course they will tell him yes. They want his money, right? They want the kid to enroll. They will tell him, yeah, there are jobs. But you see, that to me is dreaming on budget.
Yes.
We need to learn so that we are like this Davis. He's a doctor, he's a qualified doctor. But he sits back and says, wait a minute. We can do medicine in a different way. You can do concierge, medical concierge. Instead of waiting, we reverse this thing. Instead of waiting for people to come to us, we go to them. We anticipate what they will need and then we go to them.
Or he could have just gotten a job like a normal person.
That's what I'm saying.
And then gotten paid. And then also be in some of these strikes because of being underpaid. So first of all, we do send our shouts out to Davis
and the Rocket Health
and the Rocket Health Group as a clear example of people who are dreaming on purpose.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend who says that God pays for what he orders.
Yeah. It's a very powerful thing to say.
And here the ideas that God gives us is what he has ordered for. So if you dare to believe, he will pay for it.
Right.
So I was thinking about what you mentioned about school, and it took me back to my days in senior 5. As an outdoors person, and even here as you see at the fireplace, you're seeing rocks, you're seeing stones. I have an affinity for geology and geography. And I like to study rocks. My mother was a geography teacher, so I grew up in Tororo, where there is all this volcanic activity that created all sorts of rocks. So I took a keen interest in the study of rocks, which is geology. And I even remember in high school, my friends from Namilyango will laugh at me. In my desk, when I came back for S5 second term, there were rocks. I had books and snacks. in my desk there were rocks.
Yeah.
And people laughed. What people didn't realize is for them what they were reading on paper. Me had gone into a quarry, into this field and looked for obsidian rocks and looked for granite and looked for all these forms of rocks so I can experience it, because I'm an experiential learner like that. So now my interest in geology made me want to study geology.
Yeah.
This is 2004. And I go to our career master and I say, I'd like to know, what does it take to study geology? And what careers does one get in geology? This was the man's answer. Geology? What, studying rocks? Who cares about rocks? It is not a marketable course.
Yeah.
It is not a marketable course. So you go and find something which is marketable. Say, what's going on now?
Yeah.
And I listened to the man because was the career master. So I listened to the man, and I dropped interest in geology, and I took on my other passion, which is communication and art. Interesting thing. Next year, or 2 years later, Uganda discovered oil. And guess which people were most needed?
Geologists.
Guess who did not manage? Guess who dropped out of the geology line?
Yeah, it is not marketable.
Budget.
We're gonna come back after the break and continue this conversation specifically about, because we have not even exhausted this, about dreaming on budget versus dreaming
on purpose.
Specifically to men and how they can be able to channel it in their lives. Stay tuned. Our goal is to be a resource point of growth and safe space where men who are struggling can find a hug. Man can talk to man and become as iron sharpens iron, changing the countenance of his friend. And we want men to be there for each other in this treacherous journey that is a man's life. No man should struggle in the dark alone, and we intend to work with men who we view as wounded warriors to get back to their identity, to discover their innate potential as men, as husbands, as fathers, as leaders, because we believe that if the manhood challenge is solved in our generation, half the world's problems will also be solved.
Going up, their riders smoother sliding down. I'm wondering what they did right. They genuinely look satisfied, not a single care in the world. Not really think they have it all. I just wanna have more than 1 meal a day, eat my fill and have some food to spare. I just wanna have just a little bit more, not even as much as they do. I bet the rain don't drip on them, and I bet they have new clothes to change. Is it wrong to watch?
We're winding up this episode today on Solid Jamas, and just me and Gonzi. We're sharing quite a number of aspects here about imposter syndrome, feeling we don't deserve, things about taking action, things about dreaming. Been talking about dreaming on purpose and dreaming on budget. My friend, you see, the reason as to why dreaming on purpose is not sold is that statement that you made that your teachers gave you. It is not marketable, right?
It's going to look like an idiot. You're going to sound crazy.
So this thing of marketable, let's unpack it. What does it mean? It means there's certainty, right? There is this acceptance. There is within the confines of status quo.
It's comfortable.
It's normal. It is average. It is comfortable. That is what dreaming on budget is. Don't go outside of budget. Don't shake the tables. And we all become, like, for lack of a better word, sheep, conforming to the idea of dreaming on budget. So you don't find men, I'm talking about solid men. There are men out there with serious ideas, They are not taking a risk on it.
No.
Some of them, by the way, they might have taken a risk. And how many of them are normally told, by starter school, why don't you just get a
9 to 5?
Get a 9 to 5. Why don't you just get a real job?
That thing won't work.
Right? It won't work, and so on and so forth. And they send the miseries. They send your uncle to come and talk to you, and so on.
Their wives are sending their
And
friends.
especially the men's wives. And if ladies are listening here,
They are sending you
they are ladies.
job links.